We had the schedule release party, and we talk a lot about teams' strength of schedule. But the problem with kind of grading each team's schedule is we're using last year's results. And the NFL is a whole lot different than any other sport because each year you see a big turnover in the number of teams that make the postseason or that drop out from the previous year. Take the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns made it all the way to the NFC title game in 2020, then failed to make the playoffs last year. The Bengals, they had a top 10 pick last year, made it to the Super Bowl. They were picked to finish fourth in their own division. And although it's fun to talk about which teams have the hardest path to the postseason, I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs right now. The Chiefs are the first team in NFL history to start the season with 8 straight games against teams that had a winning record in the previous year. This according to the Elias Sports Bureau. At the Cardinals, host the Chargers. At the Colts, at the Buccaneers, host the Raiders, host the Bills. At the Niners, host the Titans. Wow. NFL got a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs? Certainly feels like that. I'm wondering, could you have a team out of the AFC West not win the division, but win the Super Bowl? I think the answer is yes. Because the Raiders got better, the Chargers got better, Broncos got better. Kansas City didn't get better, losing Tyreek Hill, but still a formidable team. And I was wondering about that. Who is this year's Bengals? Now, that's not going from nowhere to somewhere like the Super Bowl, but the team that's going to, let's say, was finishing third or fourth last year is going to finish first this year. Is there a team out there that will? There's going to be a couple of teams that surprise us. Happens every year where you go, wow, didn't see that one coming. But if you look at the schedule, and it could be impact players, rookie players, free agent players, it could be a variety of things. Coaching change. Are we going to have that team? Is that team Philadelphia? Could Philadelphia be that surprise team? They went 9-8 and they made the playoffs. So I don't know if it's that's not the big leap that the Bengals made. The Bengals had a top 5 pick, took Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow coming off knee surgery. There were a lot of draft experts who said you should go for an offensive lineman, Penei Sewell from Oregon, and somehow, some way, with the defense that nobody probably knew any of the starters on it, they got to the Super Bowl and came within a second and a half of Joe Burrow finding Jamar Chase for the game-winning touchdown. Who is that team this year? Yeah, Paul.
I'm not picking them, but could you see the Raiders with their offseason improvements? They almost won that wild card game against the Bengals.
But they were a playoff team last year.
Yeah, that's not big of a... How about this? What if Jameis Winston got his act together for real and became a very... I'm just saying, you said unexpected. If Jameis Winston ends up becoming a very good quarterback in the league, there is still a good roster there.
But that wouldn't be as surprising as the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals were picked 4th. And Joe Burrow coming off knee surgery. Saints have a really good, they have talent there. The Bengals had talent. They just didn't have impactful players like Jamar Chase. What if the Vikings would end up going to the Super Bowl? That was Marvin laughing there.
You got jokes today, DP.
Yeah, I do.
The Super Bowl.
How about the Browns? But here's the thing. If you look at how the NFL scheduled the Browns, they're not expecting Deshaun Watson to be playing anytime soon. Therefore, Jacoby Brissett is going to be the key for the Cleveland Browns to stay in the playoff hunt. Now, Pittsburgh with Trubisky, not quite sure. The Bengals, can you do it again when everybody is expecting you to do it again? Then you got the Ravens. We sort of have moved past the Ravens. It's one of the best organizations, but they finished last. Lamar Chase playing for that contract extension, and Lamar Jackson. It just feels like, we're sleeping on the Ravens might be that team that the Bengals were last year. Now, it wouldn't be as big of a surprise because you got a former MVP candidate. You got an experienced head coach who's probably going to the Hall of Fame. And I like what they did in the draft. So that might be the surprise pick. Yeah, Marv.
I said this earlier, but as far as my most interesting game, the Dolphins. I know they may not be the biggest surprise, but if Tua can look like Alabama Tua with all those weapons, and there's some expectations with them now.
But they were 9-8 last year. It's just we're not sold on Tua. If you had, imagine if Joe Burrow was the quarterback in Miami.
Oh, my gosh.
And Stephen Ross was doing everything he could to try to trade up to get Joe Burrow. What would we think? Where would the Miami Dolphins be in the odds for winning the AFC? They would be behind Buffalo. They'd be behind Kansas City. I don't know who else. I don't think the Raiders or Chargers, even though they might be better teams. Yeah, Paulie?
Don't you always want to pick the Chargers going into a season? They added more.
No, I have. Yes. That's the problem.
But
I learned my lesson.
Don't you got to stick? Because the year you bail on them, they win it all.
I know. God, every year it felt like they got so much talent. And then they'd always lose again. You go, oh, they're playing Baltimore and there they go. They're out of the... Or they'd have injuries. I don't know of a team that had more injuries early in a season than the Chargers did. Because you'd go, oh, it's over. That's derailed.